met with thousands of families, and one-on-one. That's the most difficult part of our job, I said, was doing death notifications, next kin notifications. But when you're sitting in a room with a family and they're holding their dead child, that's probably the hardest part of our job. And I sat with a mother holding her child in the living room for 2 hours, trying to convince her, letting her know we're going to take care of her child and find out the cause of death. And that's where the compassion comes in. And we wrap the baby up in a regular blanket, baby blanket, and carry it out as if it's my own. And that means a lot to families.
Thank you. Peter?
Could you repeat?
Question is, describe your death investigation experience.
It's pretty clear whenever I was to deal with the deceased that they would have been killed by something obvious. I never had to investigate a death, but I can tell you this, whenever you see your friends come back and they're not with us anymore, it moves you to a point that I don't think you could understand unless you've been in that situation. Imagine, if you will, your brother or your sister just one day being in a car accident and not coming home. It's very similar to that, I would imagine. And you always wonder what could have been done. And I've communicated with the families, especially whenever I'm close to the individuals that have been deceased. And I feel that that my input into what they have done for their country was important and would help them, their family.
Thank you, Peter. Now this question is a little bit lengthy, but it's important. I understand that the coroner's office is responsible for lifting and transporting bodies, which can often be very heavy. Are you physically fit enough to handle that job? And how would you ensure that your deputies would stay in good physical condition to avoid costly injuries? This one goes to you, Peter.
Well, the two parts, I suppose. Am I physically capable of lifting a body? I believe that I can lift over 100 pounds. If it was more than 100 pounds for an individual, you would do a 2 or 3 man lift. In all fairness, you would have equipment, or at least the opportunity to get your equipment to move the body. I don't think that there would be a huge rush. If you had to do it properly, always safety first. As for the individuals who would be doing the lifting and the work, I don't know if there's a exercise room at the coroner's office, but I think that it's definitely important to encourage them to be physically fit and active, and to remember that there are requirements for the job that shouldn't be ignored. Right.
Thank you. Would you like the question repeated?
No. Physical fitness is very important in the coroner's office. I myself help lift bodies all the time. We have one deputy on at a time, given a 24-hour period. When they need help, they call me. I come out and help them. Or if they get a call and they get a second call, I go on the second call and take that investigation. So that the lifting is really, a lot of it is up to us. Bodies, as you can look around, are getting heavier all the time, and it seems like that physical fitness is so important to avoid injuries. We do have an exercise room in our new office. All the equipment was donated by my deputies and myself, so there's no cost to the county, but it is very important to stay physically fit. I do not want any injuries. So far we've done very well in that area, but proper lifting technique is very important. So.
Thank you. So Greg, could you please describe your experience working one-on-one with bereaved families?
Certainly. As I mentioned before, I sat in the living room with people whose child has died, and it's probably one of the most difficult things we have to go to. But we deal with bereaved families all the time, and not only just at the scene, but afterwards they come to our office and they want to know answers. They want to know why the person died. They have to retrieve the property that was on the body. We sit with them, we talk with them at length, and try to make sure that they understand. We also sometimes months and years past the time of the death, they call back for more information or things that they hadn't thought of, and we're more happy to answer those kind of questions.
Thank you. Peter?
It must have been 10 years ago I dealt with I dealt with a close friend who had committed suicide, and I spoke directly with his mother and his father, and his brother was overseas with me, and I was able to go and actually visit him and let him know what had happened specifically. As part of my work detail, I was able to travel, and it was one of the hardest things I'd ever done. I couldn't imagine having to tell my family that, or having somebody tell my family the same information, but it had to be done, and it was very good to have somebody familiar with the family members. It's especially important to be able to relate positive information, not just the negative.
Thank you. So now, specifically working with families, this person asked, when my father dies, I want to bury him in Idaho. Can I drive his body there myself? Peter?
No. You can't drive him there yourself, but you can arrange for the body to be transported. Human remains are a biohazard. It's very possible that if they had a disease or anything communicable, it could be transferred on to the living, and that would be a health hazard, and that would have to be something that we would avoid. Unfortunately, it might be inconvenient for the family. I'm not sure if they could travel with the body. I suppose that would be up to the transport service. Great.
Right.
You know, we get this question once in a while. It's an interesting question because I've dealt with this numerous times, and actually the answer is yes, you can. You can actually transport a body across the county line. What you need to have is a second sheet on your death certificate, which is your transport permit. We do recommend they put dry ice around the body and keep it in plastic, but yes, you're totally within your legal rights to do that. And we don't suggest it, but we could not prevent people from doing that if we wanted to just save some money.
Thank you. So, back to you, Greg. Now moving on to the larger picture of the community. Have you been endorsed or approved by any organization of your preferred political party, such as county or legislative district?
I have been approved by the Republican Party. I've also got endorsements from actually several people in both parties. As mentioned earlier, Russ Hauge, Steve Boyer, the Sheriff's Guild, the Derek Kilmer, Janet Angel. I could list a couple hundred names, endorsements that I've received. Because they see the job that I'm doing, they believe that I'm doing the proper job and the right job, and I've got the passion for the job.
Thank you. Peter?
I am not endorsed by the Democratic Party. They have not yet given me that honor, but I'm working with them. And as for other endorsements, I have several individuals who have endorsed me specifically, but agencies and organizations, not yet. I'm still working on that. I have regular work, and I'm unable to go and do that full time, but I'm definitely working on it.
Okay. So then, staying with you, Peter, what is your current community involvement, and how does it relate to the coroner job?
Community involvement?
Yes.
Actually, my involvement with the community, I work with a youth group at my children's school. It's just a small little thing, but I help kids get to and from school whenever they need to for their soccer practice and things like that. It's been off during the summer, but it's starting to come back. As for working with the coroner's office, I'm not sure I have anything that specifically encourages or motivates people to work with the deceased.
As mentioned before, I work with MAD, BUAD, and some of the other organizations around here that specifically deal with death investigation and the prevention of death. We also work with the Navy. We give talks to the Navy Subbase Bangor as well as PSNS. When a new ship comes in or a new sub, we are responsible to go in and talk to them about DUI prevention. We do that constantly throughout the year. The other organizations I work with is South Kids Have Boys and Girls Club. I think that's very important. is we need to educate our children to stay away from drugs, alcohol, and the things that would cause a premature death, as well as compassionate friends. As I said before, they deal with people who lost children.
All right. So staying with you, Greg, then the question is, what relationships do you think are necessary and appropriate between the coroner and other law enforcement and judicial agencies?
That's extremely important. We deal with several law enforcement agencies in this county alone. Sheriff's Office, Bremerton PD, Portage PD, Paulsville, Bainbridge Island, as well as the FBI. We've dealt with the tobacco and firearms fighters. So it's very important to have a good relationship with those organizations. We do have a very good working relationship with them. We exchange information. We come to the conclusion. And in-depth investigation is not any one person's job. It's not like CSI. We go in and one group of people solve the whole problem. It doesn't work that way. It's a team effort. We have an excellent sheriff's office here. We have excellent police departments here. We work with the prosecutor's office. There's wonderful people in Kitsap County. We're very blessed to have a group like this.
What was the question again?
The question is, what relationships do you think are necessary and appropriate between the coroner and other law enforcement and judicial agencies?
Well, very simply, I think that they should feel comfortable picking up the phone and dialing or coming into the office and speaking directly to us. There should never be a question or a distance there, perceived or real. Absolutely, you have to have full and open communication with law enforcement and other judicial agencies. As Greg put it, I would not even try and add any more to that.
And Peter, what are the three main concerns or issues that currently confront the coroner's position?
Main issues?
Main issues. Top three.
I believe that the main issues would be, first and foremost, there is a question of why are we still using the same medical examiner and not a different one. There's got to be at least a dozen in this area that would be well suited and capable instead of continuing to use Dr. Laxina. That's the first one. Secondly, I don't understand how or why we keep getting sued, but there are constant and relevant lawsuits that have happened over Mr. Sandstrom's entire administration that I believe could have been avoided. And third, I think that there's just a distance between the coroner's office and the community, and I wish to fix that problem.
Thank you. And Greg, what are the three main issues or concerns that currently confront the coroner's position?
I think that, of course, I disagree with the opponent here. We use our pathologist for a very good reason. He's the best in the area, and there are a dozen ones to use. Anyway, beyond that, I think the main things we need to work on, need to focus on, of course, one is the economy, because the economy is down, our budget is way down. We're going to have to tighten our belts even further and investigate deaths. I'll be doing more investigation myself because of the tighter constraints on us. That'd be the first one. Second one, I think, is, like I mentioned before, is the physical fitness, because it's very important. I don't want any injuries, because as soon as you have an injured deputy, you're down one deputy. I only have 5, so that makes it very difficult for a 24/7 operation. And probably the last thing is just keeping our equipment in top shape, because like I said, the economy's down, we don't have the money to buy new equipment, so we do the very best we can to keep our equipment in top shape.